Remember when he told Carmen Electra, the woman fell from the ceiling. The woman
Right, landed on my lap.
Yeah, she landed in the bed. It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, everyone. I am Ramona Ramirez. And it just struck me, Margie, as you were saying, my dear friend, like, I feel it. Even though we say it every week, I feel it. And I really appreciate you. And I know that you can feel my appreciation too, my gratitude for you being my life, my unyielding, fierce love for you. And
100%.
I love you.
I love you too. I hope everyone can hear the smile in my voice because Ramona and I, as always, have a little friendship download session before we start recording. And I'm just I'm so happy I know you and I love your kid.
Yeah.
We were just talking about your kid and he's so great.
He's pretty great.
We get to talk on the phone on occasion and it is I love all of my friends' kids are so fun to talk to. Again, this is probably a reflection of my maturity level because everyone's around in the like 8 to 10 range. And boy, is that my sweet spot. So I'm really enjoying this phase of development with your children.
He loves you. He loves you so much. Yeah. Shall we just get right into it?
Oh, God, let's do it.
I know. From
the Viper Room to Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So this is The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 14, Episode 7. It's called What the Chuck. And net, this episode was all about Kyle showing her whole lying, conniving, manipulative bee self till the end, like that's it. So, Margie, what else did you watch this week? Margie, what was your antidepressant?
Honestly,
that was
true.
it.
And everyone is sick of it. All of the not a single cast member can stand her because the lying is so flagrant and egregious and the gaslighting is so inelegant that it's just offensive.
My God.
And
the gaslighting.
The editors hate her too, because every time she's like, Dorit doesn't share anything, they're like, clip of Dorit sharing everything. And then I did love them because she was like, the last time a vein bulged out in my head, I was fighting with Camille and they put the scene in, which is not an interesting scene, but for the fact that Kyle's face is unrecognizable. And I feel like they put that in there to be like, let's just real quick just show what a liar, superficial bullshit artist you are on every level.
And I have notes about that scene, so about that flashback. So I'll wait until it comes up. But it made my heart sing. It made my petty, Schadenfreude-filled heart. It just it made it snorted that shit up. Loved it.
I mean, and I hope you're just snorting my admission of total error in having. I had all this compassion for Kyle last season. She's going through divorce. She's confused about her sexuality. She's losing her identity of 30 years, let alone like a lifetime of being blah, blah, blah. This season, I'm just like, I cannot wrench one redeemable thing about you out of any minute that you're on screen. Bo's had surgery and Kyle shows up being like, anyways, I'd like to get to know her better and to have her know me better. I'm like, she just had a massive abdominal surgery. Can you not do damage control today? No, she has to yell and scream and show pictures and just like, what an ass.
Yeah, and she's getting ripped apart on the blogs and all that shit. So yeah, I've read it for sure. She's getting ripped apart. And I love it. And someone even said listen, I've read House of Hilton. I know the horror show that she grew up in, but it's still not an excuse, especially living in LA and especially having the means that she has.
Get help.
LA is just like, you have a therapist there like you have a doctor or a dentist, or whatever, self-help.
Weed clinics.
Right.
There's one on every corner, Starbucks.
Yeah. Self-help and therapy is, it's everywhere. It's
part of the culture here.
Right.
Beautifully, thank God.
Mm-hmm. And so she knows better, but all she did last year was get a fucking life coach. I have nothing against life coaches, but she needs
clinical help.
Again, I maintain that all of her appearances on Watch What Happens Live throughout the years have been the Kyle we are seeing this season. So everything else that she was filming was fucking bullshit. You know, it was just bullshit. Oh God, I love it.
I saw some article, a People magazine article came up on like my Google, you know what I mean? Because it knows me well. So it's like, here are puppies and Real Housewives. And she did this whole article talking about how to take care of herself. She took a 10-day break from shooting this season. She's never done that before, but she just couldn't. It wasn't good for her. So she had to do what was right to take care of herself. And then I see this episode and the coming attractions for next week. She took those 10 days off after Bose confronted her and said, show the text messages. And she's like, and she panicked and ran away because she knows that she's a monster. She knows that she's a liar. And Bose was like the rest of us, just simply saying like, just show it. What's the problem? People who have nothing to hide nothing. Just show it. And Kyle lost her mind and quit filming for 2 weeks. And in this article in People, she was so victim, martyr, applauding herself for doing the right thing, even though it was so hard. She's never done that before. I was just like, like every turn, you're awful. In print, on screen, you're just not. And her clothes weren't even good this episode. I couldn't find anything to distract myself. I hated her green jacket at the country club party. I hated her Chuck E. Cheese bedazzle-shouldered black jean jacket. I hated everything.
You know what? Now that you mention that, I remember being really annoyed at how perfect her ponytail had to be to go to Chuck E. fucking Cheese. Mm-hmm. Also, again, I have started watching the credits. I don't turn them off. Special thanks to, God, what was the first one? Special thanks to someone and Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. fucking Cheese was thanked.
The Viper Room and Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes, the Viper Room and Chuck E. Cheese. And I was like, oh my God, it's a promotional consideration.
Listen, poor Chuck E. Cheese got some screen time, so he deserves a special thanks.
Oh my God, I was just, this is where we're at. This is what we're doing. You know what? It's the fucking pizza party she deserves. She doesn't deserve to go to Pizzeria Mozza. Is Pizzeria Mozza still around?
It's still around.
Oh,
yes,
man.
Very much. That whole corner is really one of my favorite places.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So she doesn't deserve Pizzeria Mozza. And again, I am not judge, jury, and executioner, but until I see people mea culpa in a genuine, authentic, palpable way, you go to Chuck E. Cheese. You go to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
Gross. I can smell it. I can smell the cheese there that probably smells like poop. Like,
oh man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like airplane. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah. I'd rather have
However,
Sbarro.
it did look fun. Their games playing section did seem fun, but
I think it looked sad. That place looked sad.
It's both.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the vibe of Chuck E. Cheese. It's like sad fun.
Oh my God.
Anyways.
So you wanna start this?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So we're back at the Viper Room. Dorit and Kyle are still fighting. Kyle mocks Dorit. And when she mocks Dorit, this is when it struck me what a mean girl Kyle is. She is the kind of person that will totally make you look stupid in front of a crowd, but they say, oh my God, I'm just joking. Why are you freaking out? I'm just joking. She's gross. And then Erica runs, like, after they, like, go at each other like they're gonna get fisticuffs. Fisticuffs? That's yeah. Erica rushes to Dorit's side and is basically like, you don't want this, I assure you. Because Erica's behavior is still close enough in her rearview mirror, like when she was like, or what? So she knows that if Dorit does get physical with Kyle, that's gonna be the flashback that they're always gonna pull. So, like, listen, stop. And I have to, for all of Erica's faults, I had to applaud her for this.
I don't know. I think what is different is that Dorit is sympathetic and Erica was not. Erica was saying, or what, about widows and orphans and stealing them to make a video for Pat the Puss. You know,
Oh my God.
Dorit's going through something pretty extreme. Kyle is insanely in the wrong and everyone knows it.
Yep.
So I appreciate Erica like quelling a full-blown brawl at the Viper Room. I don't think it was headed that direction, but you know, Dorit said in her confessional, Kyle's bulging vein acknowledges her guilt. And now she's screaming, trying to force Dorit to back down to kill the conversation. And Dorit is in a place in her life where she's like, that's not happening. And later, you know, I think Sutton is the one who says Kyle's not used to people standing up to her. And Dorit is done. And I don't think she was going to hit her. But I think when Kyle is being that aggressive, mocking and yelling, I don't blame Dorit for lunging forward to be like, take me seriously. Like, you can yell and scream all you want, but she was just saying the rules have changed. The rules have changed. You can yell until you're blue in the new face, but you cannot make this stop.
No, and it was foreshadowing, man. The veins and the egregious lack of accountability, lack of self-awareness, like, it's not even a possibility for Kyle. Like, it's not, she's not capable of it. Like, I don't know if she's capable of it. I don't know if she's capable of looking at herself.
No,
anyway.
Because Dorit, again, everyone at the table agreed, saying this is a weird thing that you're doing, being in touch with PK. We understand why Dorit is uncomfortable. And Kyle is just screaming, I'll stop texting and sending memes. What more do you want from me? And it's like, how about some compassion, sensitivity, tenderness, just basic human decency and respect? How about that? While someone's going through a divorce, you expected so much of everyone last year as you boo-hooed your way through your Morgan Wade-filled breakup with Mo. And Dorit has just begun the process of the dissolution of her marriage. And PK has unceremoniously cut her off, but he's still talking to Kyle. And you can't find any empathy, even if you disagree. Like, we have this conversation all the time, you and me, about our friendships and relationships in our own lives of like, all we want from people is, even if you disagree with me, can you understand how I'm affected in this way? Even if you think I'm wildly off base, can you see, Kyle, how Dorit, whose husband all of a sudden one day said, we're not speaking anymore. Good luck raising the kids. I'm going to go live in a condo, new PK. Can you understand how it might confuse and feel?
Single PK.
Right.
Single PK.
Excuse me, single PK.
Excuse me. I'm just painting a picture of what an
aggressive asshole.
Right.
And so can you see, Kyle, how Dorit might feel destabilized right now and how you engaging with PK would exacerbate that? But instead just like, okay, I'll stop.
Oh my God, the mocking.
Go to hell.
Absolutely. No, Grace. I know that, I can't say this.
Now you have to.
Well, like in a couple episodes back when Dorit and Camille were tossing around the see you next Tuesday word,
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
Kyle doubles down on this. She has a confessional where she says that Dorit is just saying all this tonight to make me look bad. When I know she doesn't even genuinely feel this. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
How do you expect? And again, I have my reaction of like, don't cast me as the fool in your lies. That is so stupid what you're saying right now. You think Dorit doesn't believe this? You don't think that? You know I don't believe that. Do not. Try another angle. Be smarter. If you're going to be an asshole, do it with some fucking finesse.
Here's
Please.
Again, I want to remind myself, you, everybody. Her Amazon Live, we're not that close. In her conversation with Bose, we've been friends for years. PK's a good friend. What is it, Kyle? Are you friends or are you not? It's convenient when you're defending yourself to be, oh my God, this friend of so long, she's now being a bitch to me, like, but in Amazon Live, because of what Dorit said at the reunion last year, well, we're not really that close. She's
I mean, Kyle
enraging.
all but admitted that all of that is punitive. And she basically admits it to Bose when she shows the image of Dorit hugging Mauricio. She's like, and so that's why I'm doing this. It's basically like, let me justify my terrible behavior by, it's all punitive and it's so immature. And I'm so glad that that word came up 100 times. Immature, juvenile, elementary school.
Tit for tat.
That is where Kyle is stunted in her growth. And it worked in elementary school, and it weirdly, with money, worked for decades beyond that, but it's over now. And she is death rattling. It is really.
I'm here to see the downfall. I'm here to see it. I'm here to cheer by the sidelines. Whoever is on the front lines of taking down Kyle, I'll bring you water. I'll bring you pizza.
Well, and I'm here alternately for Dorit's, come up. Because Dorit, to her credit, is it Sutton that starts coming at her too? Oh no, Garcelle finally, after 2 years, asked Dorit, to try and take attention off of Kyle. Garcelle's like, well, you started talking about Kyle. I thought you were going to talk about PK. How are you? And Dorit's like, oh, really? After 2 years, you're going to ask me how I am? And to her credit, she gets up and she's like, I don't need to fight her. I don't need to get into any of this. I'm sorry, Erica, to leave your night of standing on stage while a song played in the background. Okay.
Put your hands in the sky.
Oh my God, it was so uncomfortable.
I know.
But she just left. And I thought, Dorit is really proving to be an adult in a way that, is so surprising and delightful. And Kyle is proving just the opposite. She is 6 years old, having a season-long tantrum.
And again, I understand her reactions from her 6-year-old place. I understand her reactions from her young teenage place, because I have done it myself, and I've done enough therapy now to know who's in the driver's seat with what behavior I'm doing. Is it my young self? Is it my teenage self? Kyle, she's nowhere close to whatever her bottom is. And by bottom, I mean where she's going to be like, oh my God, my emotional life is in shambles.
Can I tell you where I think that's going to come? And I think she's laying the foundation for it here. So she is lying all over the place. She's so unlikable. This is going to be a problem for her in her divorce from Mauricio. Ooh. Mauricio has a business that is public facing and needs to have a reputation that is somewhat untarnished. His wife is making a real bad show. She's dragging his name into it, saying Mauricio said that I should call PK and it's ridiculous that Dorit says I don't. It's like, this is gonna harm her in the way that I have feared all along. This amicable divorce that she insists is going to be so, again, it hasn't started yet, and I don't think Mauricio is going to be caping for Kyle when she's lying all over the place, disliked by the public at large. It's not.
See, I think that Mauricio lacks the same amount of self-awareness Kyle does.
Not when it comes to money.
Oh.
It'll affect his business. Because Mauricio's associated with a woman who everyone hates. And if he's like, no, Kyle's wonderful, I'm going to stand by her, I'm going to give her half, she deserves it, the rest of the world is going to be like, that seems ethically questionable and weird. I'll go.
But he already is ethically. He already is. Okay. He already is morally corrupt.
Is
and
he?
Ethically, I think, yeah, he's had lawsuits. Let's not forget, he stole people from Hilton and Highland.
But that's part of the real estate industry.
Yes, okay, you're right.
It's not like what PK is doing, owing millions of dollars to casinos. Mauricio is dirty within the realms that anyone who makes that much money is dirty. You do weird shit at a certain point if you're going to get to that level. But I haven't heard anything about nefarious behaviors.
I think there's lawsuits.
I'm sure there are, but nothing that we've heard of in a way that's I don't know. I
hear what you're saying. I don't trust either of them to do the right thing ever. Maybe with their kids, but that's it.
Kyle only lied in this episode. She only lied. And that is not someone that as a realtor you want to align your business with. Like, unfortunately, I don't know. It's very new, but I literally was started to like have those worrisome feelings for her when she's like, the first person I called was Mo. Mo's on my side. Team Mo, Team Kyle. I'm just like, careful.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to want to associate with you.
Agreed.
And he has there's no prenup. So not that she'll ever be like poor, but like, I think what she thinks she's owed, she is putting in danger with this behavior. So
fascinating. Oh my God.
So jaded. God, I hear myself talking and I'm like, oh, Margie, what if people are just good and he gives her half and it quietly goes away? Wouldn't that be nice?
Before Kyle showed her entire lying, toxic ass in this episode, just based on Mo and like making a fucking show, I would never touch an agency agent with a 10 fucking foot pole if I moved back to LA and had to buy a house. If they were related to any of it, I'd be like, hell no.
Yeah.
No, they're shady. And as far as I'm concerned, they're shady.
But all realtors are shady. I don't
think so.
You don't think the Altman brothers are shady?
You mean okay, like the ones that are on
that
TV.
Level of prestige.
Sure.
The 5 million and up listers are not there.
Got it.
They like love people and want to place them in the best house. They want to earn the most. Okay. It's a weird.
I see.
Competitive.
Because our realtor was so rad. Here.
But there are wonderful realtors. And when you said I would never touch a agency realtor, I just thought about the one guy who is not related to Mauricio, who was working his ass off, came from nothing. I would go to him.
Yeah,
I believe in him.
I see what you're saying.
And he's under the umbrella of a great known agency, literally. And he was great. Seeing him on the show, I wish I could remember his name, but I would track his ass down because he worked
I didn't watch
so
that
hard.
show, but yes.
He learned everything about every property and about the people. Like, he's the kind of realtor that you're probably talking about. Someone who cares about matching great people with a great property that will, that they'll love forever. So anyways.
You know who I think is going to be the one that's going to get in Mo's ear and he's going to have, it's his mother.
Oh yeah, and they hate
Kyle. His mom hates Kyle.
She's screwed. She is screwed.
Yeah.
And this is going to make that worse. Her behavior and performance this season is going to make his mother go, this is what I've told you all along. This is who she is for real. Like you're saying, she's showing her watch what happens self.
She makes choices. Yeah. And that's the thing. Like she's been on there with Mauricio and they're not good people. I would never feel safe with either one of them. That's what I'm saying.
I hear that.
That's what I'm saying. They're not emotionally safe people, in my opinion. So
I think you're right. There's always an agenda running.
It feels like it, or it's superficial. And here is why. And again, Dorit did this too. And I'm not going to let myself forget it. I'm not going to let myself forget the microaggressions against Garcelle and the lack of willingness, the willful choice to not give a shit about what Garcelle was saying. She didn't care.
Lunch was awful. Yeah. It's burned in my brain. Yes, you're not wrong.
I'm not forgetting that. And I'm not forgetting PK and Dorit sat across from Mo and Kyle, and they laughed about Erica being a racist fucking bitch
to a child.
Garcelle's child.
Yes. To a kid.
Child. They laughed about it.
Yeah, that was disgusting. Laughed like being on Erica's side in that moment. Like that was disgusting.
It was disgusting. I don't want people to ever forget that.
Never forget.
Dorit, I can see, I validate why everybody is cheerleading her. And maybe this will open up more growth for her. I mean, I hope she finds Al-Anon. I hope she finds a therapist. And I also acknowledge that people aren't perfect. It just hurts my heart and enrages me when I see people being imperfect the way they were imperfect that night. All the four of them throwing Garcelle and her child under the bus when, I
do think Dorit, what she's saying, what she's screamed in every episode, the rules are different now.
Yes.
I do think she was abiding by the rules. Whatever PK laughs at, I laugh at. Whatever Kyle laughs at, I laugh at. And I'm not saying it's forgivable.
Yeah.
It's a gross behavior, but I also recognize it. as someone who lived with an alcoholic, you find the path of least resistance and you get out of the line of fire no matter what.
Oh my God,
and
Margie, you're right.
I didn't think through every choice I made, the morality of it or the after effects of it. In the moment, you just go like, he's laughing, I'm laughing, I'm laughing. This way we can go home tonight and he won't be mad at me, I hope. You know,
and I won't lose my friend. I won't lose my friend Kyle.
It's such a desperate place, you know.
It's a coping mechanism. It's a coping mechanism to survive in an alcoholic relationship.
And I don't think she's proven that she's not any of the things that she appeared to be in those moments. I don't think she's proven that not to be true yet. But I do hear a different, there's a very different tack from her now. And I'm curious to learn who Dorit actually is. And I do believe in her friendship with Bose. I don't think it's for the show. I think she really loves her and connects with her and has a meaningful bond with her, you know? Mm-hmm. Who knows?
More will be revealed for that. I have optimistic skepticism. What is it? Optimistic skepticism? What's that saying?
Cautious optimism?
Cautious optimism. Thank you. I do feel that Dorit is probably so depleted emotionally, and the energy that she used to put into how she presented herself, she doesn't have that energy. It's going towards survival. It's going towards her kids. It's going towards like figuring out what the fuck is going to happen. This is unfolding in real time. I commend and enjoy and encourage seeing this more authentic side of Dorit. It is making the show more interesting this season. Anyway, in Kyle's confessional, she says it makes her angry because she and Dorit were in a better place. And I want to know how she thinks this. If in a better place means that Kyle is willing to tolerate Dorit, that's disgusting. But they're not in a better place. Before, like after Oceanside, they were not in a better place.
I think Kyle just thought she'd successfully tamped down Dorit. And that's what, to Kyle, is a better place. When you do what I want, we're in a fine place. And when you have a thought or feeling or need or an expression of your own, we're in a bad place.
I'm lying to you about what I text your husband, but Dorit, you and I are in a good place. Fuck all the way off, Kyle.
And then Bose, I just love Bose. She's such an asset to the show. And just, she is us sitting at this table.
Agreed.
Because she tells Kyle, Dorit is just trying to sort this all out. She's just trying to get it out, her emotions, and understand what's going on with you. And Sutton says, well, Kyle doesn't deserve it. And Bose goes, how does Dorit know that? How does Dorit know that Kyle doesn't deserve it? And I was like, yes. And then Kyle comes at Bose with, you don't know the history. We have 8 years of texting. And Bose, again, so steady, is just like, well, there's a lot of things you could be fine with for a time. And then circumstances change and it's not cute anymore. You know? And I was
it's
like,
not appropriate right now.
I love this woman.
She's
do too. So fucking level-headed, and it drives these women crazy. Her logic is just, they can't.
When she said that, when she said, fine, maybe it was okay for 8 years, but things change.
And not a little thing. They're getting the biggest thing has happened.
He's an alcoholic.
And he won't talk to her, and they have 2 children.
Right.
And she can't co-parent properly. All of the worst cascading actions are happening. And Kyle's like, but it was fine. It's like, can you see how the landscape has changed?
I mean,
Good Lord.
The look on Sutton and Kyle's face when Bose said that, they were just like, blink, 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 because there is no comeback for that. They were like, oh shit. I don't even think they were, oh shit. They were just like, oh. They were just dumbfounded.
Yeah, this isn't Camille, ladies. You can't just say things and
they
shut
didn't
up
even know how to
dumbass. Deal. No. And even Jennifer Tilly said, you know, to Kyle, does Dorit know you're not texting things other than memes? And then they all like make jokes about like, what is it, nudes or whatever? But the question stands. Jennifer Tilly is like, how can Dorit know that you're only texting memes? Like, again, people have nothing to hide nothing. Show her the thread, bitch. If there's really nothing in there, like, embarrass her by showing it to her.
Right.
Let it be Michael Jordan after Michael Jordan after Michael Jordan crying. Okay.
Right. Oh
if
my
it's really
God.
just that, let's
Hilarious. Hilarious. In Kyle's
Hermit
confessional.
sipping tea.
Yeah. Yes. I love that. That meme is just it. Oh my God. It just makes me laugh every time I see it. So at the end of that scene, Kyle's confessional is just so full of willful denial. It's like it was comedic almost. I could see how this would look to someone new. And I'm like, dude, Bose has the eyes of the viewer. You're right. She is us. She is the chorus. You and I are part of the chorus. The people on Reddit are part of the chorus. And Bose is the main character in the best possible fucking way. And so she's just saying out loud, oh my God, I just, like my energy in my body just shifted when I was talking about that. Wow. Wow. Dorit's trying to make me look bad. Fuck off.
Like while Dorit is going through a totally upsetting divorce, major, like again, Dorit has most of the information. Like there's going to be financial ruin ahead because PK's a disaster. She can't get him to co-parent. I don't know if his sobriety is going to sustain. There's a lot going on in Dorit's head. I really don't think she's also masterminding a plan to make Kyle look bad on season whatever.
She doesn't have the energy to do it.
And she doesn't have to.
Right.
Kyle's taking care of that job all on her own.
And
Jesus Christ.
Again, for Kyle to have zero empathy or sympathy for what Dorit is going through after being raised in the home that she was raised in with the type of mother that she was raised with, that is extremely telling to me.
But I think that's the problem. I think this is all Kyle's unresolved family shit.
For sure.
Because she was treated the way she treats Dorit. And so she's perpetuating the cycle. And she never got to stand up in her family. Mm-hmm. So Dorit doesn't get to do that with her. I've chosen you. You were my outlet. You're my punching bag. Mm-hmm. I took that role on. Mm-hmm. You take it on now. Because I think it's all just old, repeat the cycle shit. And it's not working because they're adults.
I could be a real dick by saying this, and I could be wildly off. I don't think that Kyle respects Dorit, and I think part of that has to do with the fact that she is not a financial equal. I've said it before. I think Kyle is a superficial piece of shit.
Yeah.
I'll tell it to her face if I see her at a Starbucks. I don't give a fuck. You know I don't.
No,
but
I would.
Would I feel bad after?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not.
You just never know what anyone's going through on any given day. If you catch her on a day where she's like a bitch, but who knows? Who cares?
Who cares?
The worst thing, in my opinion, that she said, which again, where I was just so offended by how lazy her lying is. She says, Dorit had to come up with something. Otherwise, she's the asshole. And I was like,
yep.
That's literally exactly what you're doing. And you didn't take any time to consider your something to come up with. Because fuck you for trying to sell me on this. Ugh.
Kyle,
gross.
I've never seen such Olympic level masterclass warranting projecting like Kyle Richards did in every fucking scene she was in. You know who she reminded me of in this episode?
Trump.
Yes.
I had the same thought.
Yes.
I was like, you are the reason it comes off so aggressively sincere is because it is true, not of the person you're speaking about, but of the person who's delivering it.
Yep.
And that is so unnerving.
Yep.
I hate the feeling I get
too.
when people do that.
I'm so glad you thought of the same person as me. She is like the orange shit gibbon. She really fucking is. Oh my God. Let's move on.
We go to Sutton's, and I'm Team Avi here. I like cutting lemons in circles for water, but that's neither here nor there. Also, the flowers, hydrangeas and peonies are my favorite flowers in the whole wide world. And this whole scene, they were everywhere. She has hydrangea bushes. They were lining the table. In the kitchen, Avi was like putting peonies in a little glass, and there were already, I just like loved the flower work.
I appreciate when scenes are at Sutton's house. It's like this beautiful light with a hint of pink because of all the flowers probably, and just, I love her house. I do
too.
I do too. Oh my God. Here we go.
Country Club Day. Kyle arrives and says her panties are in a fucking twist. And then this was what I found most interesting is Sutton said she's worried about Kyle having an aneurysm because she literally saw veins bulging out of her head. And Kyle says, when I get upset, I black out. And for what it's worth, that is a condition. That is rageaholic behavior. And what that means is the same chemical reaction in the brain an alcoholic gets from drinking, a rageaholic gets from yelling. And you do black out. And I don't doubt it. It's a behavioral abuse problem. And I have people in my own life who have that. And it's really hard to comprehend. I've shared with you in the aftermath of some of these conversations, the hateful shit these people are capable of saying. And then a few days later, when we've all cooled down and I say, hey, when you said this was like absolutely out of line, cutting below the belt bullshit. We can talk about what's really going on, but making a personal, hateful, shitty attack like that is not how this friendship relationship proceeds. And they're like, I didn't say that.
Oh my God.
And I used to think it was them being like defiant. And now I've really come to understand it's a blackout. I really do think they get so worked up. They get to 15 drinks in like an alcoholic and they can't piece together. It's the same way when you try to piece together a very drunk night and like little flashes of it are like, oh, that sounds right. But I truly believe in this phenomenon now. When someone who is absolutely untreated has a rageaholism problem.
Dry drunk.
Yeah, it
Dry
is
drunk.
basically that.
Even if you're not around your qualifier, you still.
And I think, and rageaholism, again, because you're not snorting lines of blow, you don't think you have a problem. But, you know, we could sit down and have an intervention and say, like, your rage outbursts, blackouts have affected me in the following ways.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, you need help.
Absolutely. So Kyle says, I haven't been that mad since the night I got in that fight with Camille. And it made me wonder if she was lying about whatever Camille was accusing her about. Again, it's like when she gets caught in a lie, you're such a fucking liar, Camille. And then the Viper Room the night before, she's projecting. We know Kyle's the liar in this instance. And looking back, she was probably the liar then too. She's telling on herself, and I don't give a shit.
Sutton said it. Kyle doesn't like it when people stand up to her. And she says Dorit cowered before her for years and she's not doing that anymore. And so here we are with just like aggression and lies and rageaholic blackouts. That's how dysregulated Kyle is when she doesn't get her way. She is 6 years old.
Yeah.
This is a tantrum, but it's really ugly on an adult. And I always say being an adult is a daily choice. You have to decide that you want to do better. You have to decide to do the right thing even when it's hard. Like, that's what adulthood is. And Kyle is just, she's bought her way out of it for decades. And in some ways, I envy it like crazy. What a gift. What a relief to just buy your friends and your face and your life and everything. But at a certain point, there's a reckoning. And here we are.
And again, you brought Sutton's confessional up before we got into it. Like, Sutton says Kyle has a problem with people standing up to her. And it made me think of all of the times when Rinna was on the show. Well, except for when she said the comment about Kim. Up until Rinna left, you know, in the last few seasons before Rinna left, it was Rinna, Erika Jane, and Kyle. And Erika Jane and Rinna were always there to be Kyle's yes people. And they did it because she had her like, poor little girl, I'm Kyle and everyone's being mean to me. And it's like, Dorit is vocalizing and Kyle has no one backing her up. I think she knows that people are seeing through her and she's panicking.
She absolutely knows, as this lunch proves, but she tries to cut it off before the camera catches too much of it.
Yep.
But what the camera catches is her trying to cut it off before the camera cut. It's like, you're not good at this.
I love it. I love it. I have nothing to say about the tennis. I don't give a shit. Fine. Vic,
I mean, Garcelle,
Nick, whatever. Garcelle looks adorable.
She's adorable. They hit balls with Vic. Garcelle sits it out claiming an arm injury, but she looks cute and just wants to have a drink.
When they first sit down for lunch, Kyle asks if the fucking iced tea has alcohol in it.
I clocked it too.
Which I believe was a dig at Sutton. Like, I'm at Sutton's house. I don't know where there's alcohol. And Sutton and Garcelle look at her like, bitch, are you fucking kidding right now? She won't stop. She's digging her grave. I'm here for it. But at the same time, she won't stop. I can't believe
It's
someone acting like this.
It's control. She's trying to get
digs and
yeah,
digs.
by trying to like punch Sutton down a little bit to be like,
that's the control.
you're an
I see.
alcoholic and don't forget that I know it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this to start this scene.
Yep.
So before you
Yep.
better be thoughtful about what
Yep.
the fuck you say to me, because I'm going to say that you serve alcohol at lunch, or that's what the expectation is because you're such a fucking drunk. And I don't disagree, but even in that moment, anyways, it was gross.
It is. And it, again, lest anyone forget that scene last season when Kyle was like, I don't know if you'd had a couple drinks or if, it was your medicine for your feet. Like, she will just throw these disgusting barbs at people on camera.
But it's tricky with Sutton because it's based in a whole lot of truth. Because we also had the name them.
I know, but like the foot thing
No,
is,
it was an added.
She's
it was
trying
a
to
drug
shame
allegation.
her and embarrass her.
For sure.
I
and
think she's
control her. It's all manipulation
Yeah.
to be like, don't step out of line or I will humiliate you about something that's quite real.
That's
It's
the
not,
word.
This isn't a made up thing that you can be like, I never drink. Kyle could do some damage and she threatens that right here. You're right. At the very top of the lunch. She's like, is this full of alcohol? Because you're full of alcohol all the time? You alcoholic?
But I'm just double checking because I don't drink anymore. Fuck
Right.
you. Fuck you. Two things can be true. She thrives on humiliating people. You're absolutely right. And because she does it in a victim way or in like this innocent, way, like, I just want to know if there's alcohol in it, but she's trying to humiliate Sutton. You're absolutely right. Ugh.
And now it's more than, I think it used to be thriving. And now I think it's a survival mechanism of like, I have so much to hide. I'm just going to remind you real quick that I can destroy you. You're an alcoholic and I've seen you drink and I know what you do. And you saw what I did to my sister. I called her out. I'll ruin you too. Like I think she's so fraught with secrets that she's just trying to get the people who have access to some of that information to feel shame so that they might not say it so proudly. Yeesh.
Go ahead, Kyle. Go ahead. She says that she told Mo about the previous night, the first thing this morning, and nothing says girl code and like she's really there for Dorit, like throwing her under the bus as a piece of gossip for her fucking estranged husband.
And then she
Jesus
launches
Christ.
right into martyrdom by saying, well, Mo told me PK was having a really hard time last night, but I can't be friends with him because if it bothers her,
Martyr.
What a weird word.
Yeah.
And Kyle reports that Mo said that that's the stupidest thing ever, that Kyle wouldn't reach out to PK when he's having a hard night if it bothers Dorit. And I don't believe that. And this is where I think Kyle's digging a really sad grave for herself. I don't believe Mauricio said that. He's never one to be like, yeah, the girls are crazy. He's always just like, I don't think he would say that. So I think she's, I don't know. Because the way he interacted with her, remember when he came over and sat on her couch and was like, get me the fuck out of here. This is weird. You're flirting with me.
Ew.
I think
that
was so sad.
Cringe
But
to watch. Yeah.
I just think he's too smart to say that's crazy. It's not crazy for Dorit to be bothered by, and PK has other resources. If he was having a hard night, clearly he talked to Mauricio, and that's the more appropriate choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just weird. And both Garcelle and Sutton say we would both be mad if you were doing with our exes what you're doing with Dorit's ex. And this is where Kyle, it unravels, right? Yeah.
No one can see this, but I literally just like leaned back in my booth.
You
like,
did touchdown Jesus.
Bracing myself for the bullshit that she is about to spew out of her mouth. I mean, she tells Garcelle, yeah, but you had a very different situation, which is Kyle evading her personal responsibility, trying to rationalize, texting PK. And then also it shows that Kyle thinks that she is terminally fucking unique. Oh, you're so different. Garcelle was cheated on. And like, allegedly, so were you, man. It's like, you're not unique in any way, shape, or form. And her unchecked ego is making her creepy. It's making her repellent and creepy.
Because she's so bad at masking. And again, it's like, you can't do this when we all watched last season. And that's why Sutton, again, I'm not a Sutton fan, but I actually felt bad for Sutton because she's like, I'm just mentioning what was brought up on camera Because Garcelle says maybe it's different with Dorit and PK. Maybe there's no infidelity, but there's still tension and discord. So you interacting with him is uncomfortable. And Sutton reminds Kyle, there was infidelity in your situation as well. It's not that different. And Kyle's like, who had infidelity? And Sutton goes,
God.
You did. And she goes, no, I didn't. And Sutton says, you talked about it. And then we cut to the confessional and the rehashing of the confessional on the reunion where Kyle said Mauricio broke her trust. And there's nothing to interpret from that other than infidelity, intentionally by Kyle. And Garcelle mentions in her confessional, there's been rumors for years and no one talks about it with Kyle. Then Kyle tries to find a backdoor here and say like infidelity meaning with Instagram. And Sutton in her confessional, the producer's like, were you talking about Instagram? And Sutton goes, no.
I loved it.
And Kyle's like, well, that's different. So anyway.
This is where she starts gaslighting everybody. And
Poorly.
I thought, she's trying to be Dennis Rodman. Remember when he told Carmen Electra, the woman fell from the ceiling. The woman
Right, landed on my lap.
It landed, she landed in the bed. He was so good at it, like she almost bought it. Like I remember this happening. Some people might not because they're younger, but like she's coming from that Dennis Rodman level of trying to gaslight someone, and it was.
But the difference is Carmen Electra loved Dennis Rodman,
Okay.
so she was inclined to believe. These two ladies are like,
got it.
I literally feel Sutton's energy was like, okay, I guess we'll move on since you're going to insist on denying what you said on camera mere months ago. This is nuts. So, okay, let's move it along.
I think also Kyle has probably talked about it with Sutton off camera.
Sure, clearly.
Yeah, and so Kyle like almost gave, like she shot a look. It was subtle, but she shot Sutton a look like, oh no.
It's the
What?
same look
Yeah.
Kathy gave Kyle when she said, Kyle, it's the
Mm-hmm.
same like, shut up or I'll ruin you on or off camera. I'm going to come for you. So.
And so I have a prediction for the reunion. Before that, though, like Sutton, when she rolled her eyes literally in Kyle's face, I was like, God damn, that sounds satisfying. I wonder if I'll ever get to roll my eyes in someone's face. But okay, so here's what Kyle's going to do at the reunion. At the reunion, she's going to defend her behavior in this scene by fake crying. And she's going to say, I just wanted to protect my kids. Mark my words. It's going to fucking happen. She's going to be victim on that reunion soundstage. And you heard this prediction first on A Therapeutic Dose.
Hilarious, because last year she was crying saying, Mauricio broke my trust. So you're protecting your kids from his infidelity with that. You're exposing. Okay.
Those kids are on the internet every fucking day.
They're not kids. They all work for Mauricio. They're professional adults. Get over it.
Portia is still a child.
Sure, but we're about to see her get like the fanciest car on the planet. Like, calm down, everyone.
Yes.
These kids are all right. Sutton asked Kyle, well, is it really just memes that you're exchanging with PK? And Kyle goes, well, we text. And Sutton says, but you never talk about their relationship. And Kyle lies poorly. Never. He's smarter than that. And then Kyle switches it onto Dorit. I don't know this girl. I don't know who Dorit is right now. Right now, there's no incentive for me to want to fix things with her. And it's like, literally just, you lied so hard and you're about to expose yourself later in the episode by showing us the text that clearly indicates that you have exchanged deeply intimate details about his relationship with Dorit by saying, I'll never repeat them. She's just unforgivable, dude.
Yep.
I just am so grossed out.
I'm disgusted. She's creepy.
She is.
She's creepy
it's
and weird.
Tom Sandoval level.
It's
like, stop lying so poorly about something that we all know.
Yeah.
We know too much now because you told us. You can't undo that. She's
deflecting. She deflected so hard. She changed that subject so hard back to Dorit. She repeats for the millionth time that before it didn't bother her. It didn't bother her before that I was texting PK because they were fucking together, you idiot. And
she
relationships
knows that,
change.
and it's annoying to watch her even say that. It's like, you're too old. You've been through too many relationships, seen your friends, seen your daughters through too many relationships to think this is okay. And that's also a piece of this. I do think about Mauricio. If his daughter's friends were doing this with one of his daughter's exes, he would have their ass. And I don't think that's lost on him. For all of, whatever his faults are, I do think he loves his girls with his whole heart. And he would happily harm anyone who behaved poorly in their presence. And he wouldn't stand for one of his kids to have a friend like Kyle. So,
God damn it, dude. I'm just in shock. I have no words right now. I had no words. Anyway, Garcelle says, listen, Kyle, Dorit just wants you to take her side. Hello? Also, that's what I remember saying. Everyone said it. If it was happening to Kyle and Dorit was acting the way Kyle is, oh my God. I never want to see. It would be emotionally exhausting. I think I would actually have to turn it off. And I love these fucking shows. Anyway, who gives a shit?
it simply wouldn't happen because everyone else is like too present and honest to try and pretend that either A, it's not happening, or that it's okay that it is happening.
And Kyle tries to manipulate and gaslight again by saying, I'm just now understanding that Dorit is having a really hard time with PK. So it's bullshit. Ugh. I'm enraged.
It gets no better as the episode continues. We get a reprieve from Kyle's awfulness, but we go straight into Erica's awfulness when she's saying, you know, she can't afford a new home, but she can try to redecorate the one she's in, and that she was such a good person because Tom's second wife took everything from the house. Not Erica. Erica took 4 plates and Erica took 4 bowls because she did the right thing. And meanwhile, Erica backed up a Mayflower moving truck to widows and orphans, but she neglects to mention that.
Right.
So maybe she only took 4 plates and 4 bowls, but she also took $750,000 earrings out of the pockets of people with, you know, trying to treat burns and, you know, overcome the loss of family members.
Grief, yes.
Honestly, Erica, spare me.
I did appreciate when Erica said style is not an unlimited budget. Style is when you have a budget and you can say, I take these things here, mix them together and make it fucking fabulous. That's style. I will point out that, you know, she's like, I have a limited budget. Bitch, you live in a $1 million house in Hancock Park.
Thank you.
It's all relative. Don't cry for me, Argentina. Like, fuck off.
And
dude, I know. I can't either.
Her home that she talks about like it's a shitty apartment on Cahuenga,
right,
is my dream forever home.
I agree.
So she can go straight to hell.
Yeah.
But I had one moment of softness for her when she talked about how it's taken her years to feel the want to thrive in her environment. And she was just trying to survive. And that to me is a light definition of depression, of when you're just going day by day, making the decision not to leave the planet, you know? So I was like, you were clinically depressed, my dear.
I mean, let's not forget, she drank on the Lexapro, and that was the reason why her behavior got like that. And again, just stop. You and Kyle, stop.
Right.
Right? Like, no.
Then we get into a conversation about how people in the group are having an issue with Dorit confiding in Erica and Bose in particular. That's when Dorit says this is an elementary school argument and I'm just not doing it. And then Erica asks Dorit, what do you need from Kyle to move forward post Viper Room? And Dorit really generously says, I don't need to see her text messages. I just feel like she's being secretive. It makes me feel like I can't trust her. And I want to understand why she flipped out so bad. And I was like, wow, that is advanced. She must be in therapy. Because I would be like, show me the receipts. Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I just want to understand how she could be brought to such a point.
She said, too, when she said the texting is secretive, she said she felt like Kyle's reaction was confirmation that it wasn't just memes and jokes.
For sure.
Dude.
For sure. The lady doth protest too much.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go to our, just queen of the episode, Bose. This, we talked about this a little on the phone yesterday, where I'm just like, this woman, no wonder she's so successful. She is up, dressed, looking great at 4:30 in the morning to go get a major abdominal surgery.
No makeup, no jewelry, no glam.
Just perfection.
Mm-hmm.
And we can talk through that, but just an overview. She has up and dressed at 4:30 in the morning, major abdominal surgery, home 4 hours later, 4 hours later after that, taking guests in bed, looking like a scene from The Crown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's sitting there like a queen in a bed, accepting company. And she is probably on painkillers. She has stitches, at least staples, in her guts from hours ago, and she's like showing up for a full day of work. No wonder this woman is an outrageous success because she did it with like grace and humor, and she's phenomenal. I literally was watching this day in the life of Bose with just awe.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
She's the best thing to happen to the show. She's been on for 7 episodes, and she's my favorite housewife of all the housewife franchises.
I agree 100%.
Okay, and that goes to prove, because I know that we all love to watch these train wrecks. How interesting is it, though, to watch someone with morals and values and doesn't take bullshit? Yes. And she's everything I want in a housewife, too. She's everything I want in a housewife.
Including her house.
Yes,
her house
dude.
we get to see more rooms of it. And I was just like, oh my God.
I loved it. I love the paintings. I loved it. Yes.
So she's getting ready for fibroid surgery and tells us that one is as big as a grapefruit, which is, that's massive.
I wonder if she was able to get laparoscopic surgery for the fibroids.
I'm sure she was. But what I know from a friend of mine who recently had that surgery, laparoscopy is great because it reduces the risk of like post-surgical infection. But the pain from the way the instruments move inside your body is far more traumatic. So you either do the incision, a clean incision where they can open you up and get in there and see what they're doing, or they put instruments in through those smaller incisions, but they tear around inside.
Okay.
And my friend her recovery was excruciating, and it lasted a while, and they were like, that's just what this is. And I took her to the hospital a couple times because she was like, I'm in so much pain, I can't stand up. And it was the same thing. They removed fibroids that were attaching to her ovaries and uterus. Again, that's one person's experience, but I couldn't believe how composed Bose was. Like, your body, it bloats you terribly. You're supposed to walk around regularly to move like gas out of your expanding stomach because air was like, your body is like, what the fuck just happened? You just stuck 2 knives in me and tore around for 3 hours. No, I'm not okay with this. Like, she's a superstar. The word is overused, but iconic as far as I'm fucking concerned.
I agree. Oy.
I just wanted to touch on Sweet Keely, her boyfriend who's there. I just love him. And she talks through this notion that she's 47 but wants the chance to carry a child, which is partly why she's doing this surgery, also for her flat abs, but whatever. And Keely, who's 48, never married, no children, wants a kid he would like for his genes to be carried on. And Bose would like to start a family with him, but, I appreciated him because Keely was basically just praising her for being brave enough to take care of her health. He didn't say like, "Ooh, I hope the outcome of this is babies for us." He was just like, "I know you're nervous about going under, and I'm nervous too when anyone I love is under general anesthetic, but like, you're very brave for taking care of your health, and hooray." I love him. I love them.
I do too. Yeah, and then Kyle shows
Kyle.
up. Can you imagine having surgery and then 4 or 5 hours later, Miss Agenda, control freak, toxic asshole comes waltzing into your house and takes it personally that she has to take her shoes off? Well, this isn't a rule for short people. This is fuck you.
Someone just came home from the hospital. Take your fucking dog shit shoes off and don't drag it up to her bedroom. You're going to her bedroom. Shut up. Oh, this isn't a rule for short people. Shut up, Kyle.
Oh, my God. And then in her confessional, she says, I think Bose is fitting in well with the entire group.
Do you, Kyle? Thank you for your gracious acceptance of this incredible, accomplished woman, you ass.
She seems to be very open-minded, even though she's opinionated, which I felt had a microaggression.
It did. It did. The whole rest of the episode is just a really unpleasant, insidious microaggression.
I was hurt by. Oh yeah, she says I was hurt by her comments at the Viper Room when she said, "Well, it's different now. Things are different. 8 years, fine, but there's change happens, and."
Yeah, I was hurt by her logical statement of fact. Oh, okay.
And I think her perception of me that I want to control Her perception of me, her idea of me, of who I am is tainted. Bitch, you tainted it yourself. Do not put the responsibility of your character being tainted on anybody else. Look in the mirror.
And they flash back to the discussion in Oceanside about Kyle punishing her friends and freezing them out for extended periods of time that both Dorit and Sutton acknowledge. And they cut to Bose's face being like, ugh, at that dinner.
Yeah.
So yes, Kyle, her impression of you is tainted because of your tainty behavior. Like, come on.
Remember the episode of Sex and the City when Carrie is having issues with either Aiden or Big, and she brings Miranda is home sick, or maybe she's post-surgery of something, and Carrie brings over bagels, and she doesn't even bring the cream cheese, and Miranda calls her out like, dude, you didn't even fucking bring cream cheese. You just want to come over and talk about your man problems. Gross.
Kyle, basically, she's there to clean up her image with the new girl because she's realizing that the new girl has some influence. It's not a Camille. It's actually a whole human being with thoughts and, you know, she's a wise person that other people in the group are looking to for.
I agree.
A wise feedback.
She looks at the camera and says, I want to get to know her better. And then here's the important part. I want her to get to know me better. But what she's saying is, I want to control who she thinks I am. And that's why I'm here.
And I don't care that she just had surgery.
And I don't care that she just
Today's
had surgery.
the day.
My agenda is, that's not news to anybody. Maybe I'll cut that out. Who gives a shit?
No, I think it is. I think it's super relevant. It's the whole motivation of this scene. It has nothing to do with checking in on a castmate who's just had surgery. It's there. And the first thing she does is compare her flowers to Dorit's. And I'll be honest, Dorit's flowers read of someone who knows who Bose is. It's this beautiful tropical arrangement that melds perfectly into Bose's decor.
Very good point.
Speaks to her personality. And Kyle is this explosion of pink flowers. And like, it would look great in my place, but it's not Bose. You know what I mean? It's just opulence for the sake of opulence. It was probably like 8 dozen roses in that ridiculous planter. But it had nothing to do with Bose.
I agree. And I also felt like when she turned around and she's like, well, mine are prettier. And that's something that she would say like, oh, I'm just kidding. Or because she said it in that giggly voice. This is where, again, it supports my belief that Kyle is a snob because she is a multimillionaire. She can call, oh my God, what's that florist in West Hollywood?
The Empty Vase?
Yes. She can call the Empty Vase. She probably has an account with the Empty Vase, and she can afford to throw $300, $400, $500 on a bouquet and delivery. Dorit, her financial situation is vastly different from Kyle's. So Kyle is just a snob and a classist. You know?
And she's 6 years old. Yeah. Mine are better than hers. It's like, again, in theory, you sent these because your friend had surgery.
Yeah.
This is not a whose are better. It's a how are you doing, Bose? I hope these flowers brightened your room. But not to Kyle. Everything's a fucking competition. Mine are prettier.
Oh, my God.
So, and Bose is very clear that Kyle is here for damage control because in her confessional, she says, you know, there are one reasons why Kyle is here, basically.
She says, I've been spending a lot of time with Dorit. Does she want me to have a balanced opinion or does she want me to get on her side? Oh, my fucking God. Again, she's speaking on behalf of the chorus. God, I love it. I love it.
And then Kyle again tries to gaslight Bose, who's a very smart woman, as are many of us in the audience, by saying, well, if it ever did bother Dorit, of course I wouldn't talk to PK. I wouldn't want anyone talking to my husband. And it's like, it does bother her. Stop talking to Bose like she's dumb. Stop gaslighting if you can't do it well. This is it's so egregious and upsetting. And Bose, who is, again, probably on painkillers, sees right through it. So, good God.
At one point, Bose says to Kyle, Dorit probably thinks you're her best friend.
That was so generous of Bose. What a lovely assist to Kyle to say, like, here's a chance to tell the truth.
She is empathetic. She sees the whole, she's just like, she's taking the whole thing in. And Kyle agrees, like, yeah, she probably does. And then says, like, the most mean girl, disgusting, vile thing that I've heard one of the most vile things I've heard come out of her mouth. Well, her idea of close and my idea of close friends are different. Can you fucking imagine that? Can you fucking imagine that?
No. First of all, I would say Beau's less, I wonder if it's less empathy and more diplomacy by just trying to help Kyle help herself. And I think this is why Beau's was an extremely effective executive. Because she's like, let me present you a way to walk yourself into a better look for you right now. And Kyle couldn't even take it because you're right. She says, well, Dorit doesn't share anything. Flashback to a dinner with Kyle and Dorit only, where Dorit says, I don't know if PK and I are going to be able to make it. And then Beau's is like, and it's the first thing Dorit said to me. She basically said, hi, I'm Dorit. I'm divorcing an alcoholic. Like, please. It's just impossible.
Kyle, what worked with Erica Jane in past seasons, what worked with Rinna, what worked with all of your former yes people, Diana fucking Jenkins of all people. Listen, let's not forget. This is what I wanted to say earlier and I forgot. Let's not forget. Kyle considers Faye fucking Resnick to be one of her closest friends. Faye Resnick wrote an exploitative book about her quote-unquote best fucking friend who was violently murdered by her fucking
domestic abuse.
Right,
yeah.
abusive husband.
Yeah.
So the company you keep says a lot about you. Diana Jenkins, Faye Resnick. You do the math. I'm so grossed out right now. I'm disgusted. I feel like I could cry. Why is this reaction happening to me right now?
Because it's so offensive that Kyle, again, is trying to present it's decades of history that we've all watched on TV. It's one thing to be gaslit by someone who we don't have video recordings of what they've done. But with Kyle, it's like everything you're saying flies straight in the face of what all of us have watched on TV.
Yeah.
So it's just so offensive to be treated like we're expected to believe this now just because Kyle's saying it. And Beau's asks Kyle, like, why won't you show the text? It's a cause of concern for Dorit. And Kyle's like, well, maybe if you're a manipulative person, you would think someone's being manipulative. I don't know what is going on with her fucking voice this episode. She sounds like a Muppet with like a night guard in.
Her lips are probably overfilled and her mouth doesn't know how to do it. And I don't say that with any kind of ill will. I just mean that like that can be a result of lip filler.
Yeah, she timed that poorly because she sounds like an even bigger idiot as she spouts lies.
Oh my God.
And then Kyle presents her case for being a bitch to Dorit with this rumor about Dorit being too touchy-feely with Mo. So Kyle, I guess, decides that this is justification for being in communication with PK. It doesn't make sense. And Beau's just said, tit for tat. And Kyle says, out of principle, I'm not going to pull out my phone. And Beau's goes, well, that's what she wants you to do, just very simply. And Kyle says, well, out of principle, she can fuck right off. Cut to 2 scenes later. And I love Beau's. So she wraps it up by saying, they say a hit dog's going to holler, and Kyle is hollering.
Right.
So we have touched a nerve.
Dude. And like a little bit before she says, well, maybe if you're a manipulative person, you think someone's manipulative. Projecting. She's trumping. Gross. That's who we're comparing her to. If someone compared me to Trump, what would I do? What would I do? I can't even conceive of what I would do because I hate him so much.
It's just the laziness of it all. Like, you're lazy, and so you're going to gaslight, and the way you get away with it is money. And it's so sad and gross.
It's disgusting.
If that's your existence, I guess enjoy.
Oh, my God. So here we go. We leave that scene, and this is Sutton pizza party that she's planned for Erica Jane.
Yes, Sutton has noticed Erica complaining about not getting a pizza party after her separation, divorce situation with Tom Girardi. So Garcelle and Kyle arrive. They go to pick up Erica. They drive to the Valley. They arrive at Chuck E. Cheese. They play some games. Sutton praises Erica for pulling herself up. Again, I just made me nauseous. I was like, can we not just...
Listen, it's not pulling herself up. She hasn't done shit except for do this show.
She did get mental health help, which clearly she was in a clinical depression, but there's pulling yourself up is what people are doing right now in
Yes.
2 cities that have been reduced to total ash. That's
Yeah.
pulling yourself up.
Yeah.
Having
Yeah.
plenty of funding in a house in Hancock Park, I don't have anything to say to you.
Also, this is rewriting history. And I also think that it's just because enough time has passed where we're not, it's like you and I haven't forgotten the egregiousness, but, everyone else has moved on. A lot of people have moved on from how vile Erica was a few seasons ago. And so they're forgetting that. I don't forget. I'm not forgetting that. They're just rewriting history right now. She hasn't done shit.
No, and I don't think they're forgetting it. I think they're doing what lots of people do, which is like there's not going to be any, no restitution will be made. So what is there to do but move on?
Damn it. That's gross, man.
It's sad. Erica reminds us that Tom is going to trial. And then she says, whatever you want to say about that, it sucks. And it's like, no, it's justice. That's what I want to say about it.
Yeah.
I don't know what sucks about it. Actually,
it sucks because she's got the stink of him on her.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, she's just as stinky as him. She's just as stinky as him.
I don't know if she's as stinky because he has, a decades-long history of doing this. So what sucks is that it took so long for him to go to trial. Not that he's on trial. It sucks that so many people were victimized when this was how he conducted business from the beginning.
My God.
And it remains a tragedy because he was such a good lawyer. He won all of those cases. He's so good, but he was a criminal. That's, to me, what sucks. Then we briefly touch on Erica doesn't want to get married and be in a legal contract again. Sutton isn't feeling like dating. Her business is bringing her joy right now. Okay. Kyle's kids want her to bounce back from her split with Mo. And Garcelle notes that, but there's not been a total split with Mo yet because Garcelle goes, you have no boundaries. And I was like, yeah. And then Kyle reflects that Mo is liking condo life. And I did appreciate Garcelle for being, look, we're at a stage in our lives, like be who you want to be. If you want to be a lesbian, be a lesbian. And the gay panic that overcame that table at Chuck E. Cheese blew my mind. It's 2025. You paraded Morgan Wade all over this show last year. And now we're going to have a gay panic about like, oh, well, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about lesbian. I was like, oh my God, what is going on? This was the one moment in the episode where I was like, thank God for Garcelle just saying, be whoever you want to be. But I guess we drifted back to 1988 real quick.
She's so fucking lame. And then Erica Jane says, you know what, I met with Dorit and we talked about the texting. And listen, things have changed. She's in a really different place. PK is really fucking unpredictable. They're heading for divorce. And it would mean a lot to Dorit if she knew that if you guys texted. And then Kyle gets immediately defensive and says, the fact that she's trying to make me seem like I'm doing anything inappropriate is gross. No, you know it's inappropriate.
And for the record, Kyle, Dorit didn't try to make it seem like you're doing anything inappropriate. She's just asking, are you in communication? She's not saying, are you sending nudes? Are you flirting? She's not worried about that. She's like, are you in communication with the man who will not communicate with me in a way that is helpful in raising our children? Are you in communication with that man? Because that's dangerous. And then Kyle does again, I'm not going to pull up my phone because I'm an adult. She does. She says, I will read the text once. And it has language to the effect of, I'm here if you need me. I've never repeated anything you've shared with me and never would.
That's so, I mean.
And the record scratch, it was worse than the gay panic. It was even more salacious. Everyone is stunned because Kyle has somehow convinced herself that this language isn't totally damning, but it is totally damning. Even though it ends with, we'll keep sending memes and laugh emojis, the part where you say, I've never repeated anything of the multiple things we've shared over lots and lots of time, obviously. And I don't know if you noticed, but you could tell that it was a screenshot that she'd pulled up because she was pinching it out and open to change the size of it.
God.
And you could see the camera roll along the bottom. So we're not in the thread. There's no chance for someone to take the phone and scroll and see what's actually written there. She took a screen grab. And for what it's worth, Kyle prefaces it by saying, right when the divorce news was announced, I texted him this, I'm your friend and I'm here. There's no date on that. That could have happened this morning. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Oh my God.
she's just,
Oh my
and
God.
maybe that's true, but she certainly took a screen grab where it doesn't say the date. And it's clear there's lots of correspondence because the page is full. Anyways.
Holy crap. The gaslighting, man. So Garcelle in her confessional is like, here you are trying to convince us it's memes and jokes and it's not true. And I think Kyle says when they're back in the scene, I'm not going to sit here and let her do this to me. Huh.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Kyle's claiming that Dorit's skepticism makes her never want to repair anything with her. And I was just like, you are so foul. You have just hung yourself out to dry and you can't even see it. You've spent so much time trumping yourself into convincing yourself that this language is okay. And it's not, because it indicates a deep history of sharing things in confidence. And Dorit is going through a divorce with a man who is inaccessible to her. And it made me think back when, in the country club scene, when Kyle's like, never, PK would never tell me anything. He's too smart for that. And then here it is in black and white. I would never betray your confidence with anything that you've shared with me, which indicates lots of things. I can't. I
can't either. I can't.
She's
I can't.
disgusting.
It's shameless gaslighting, shameless self-centeredness, just no awareness. Like she doesn't even think. She doesn't even consider, what's my part in this? Like, am I doing anything wrong? She is so committed to her victimhood.
It's Tom Sandoval. It's,
oh my God, you're right.
It's so blatantly not true that Tom Sandoval is saying, like, Raquel and I were just friends. And then it's like trying to recruit, what's the other Tom's name on that show? Schwartz. Trying to get Schwartz to agree to your timeline. It's just like, it's too crazy. At this point, the cat's out of the bag, baby. Just like, let's live in reality and deal with some facts here. You're gross.
If someone compared me to Tom Sandoval, I would head to fucking 90-day mental health rehab and be like, oh my God, please.
I mean, he is also a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
He just doesn't function like an adult. They don't think like adults. They don't act like adults. It's tragic. It's tragic.
And again, this is the franchise. When we were talking about starting this podcast, it's like the Hilton sisters were a kernel because of who their mom was and how they operate in the world. And it's no wonder that it's such a triggering show for me and you to watch.
Well, and it remains a cautionary tale. If you don't take care of your family of origin damage, this is what you do to your life. You blow up your marriage, you blow up your friendships, and you're alone with your money. And you might even lose a bunch of that if Mauricio listens to his mom and takes more than half. So,
and again, to circle back to Kyle's behavior, they're her coping skills that she formed as a child in order to survive her home. I give her that. When you become an adult, they no longer serve you in that way. And it's your choice to either release them or continue the cycle and continue to pass it on. She's not making a choice that's healthy or loving. And I don't give a fuck about that woman.
Well, as they say in 12-step rooms, it works until it doesn't. And it's worked for her. And now the last 2 years, it doesn't. And
I mean, it doesn't work for us, but I don't see it not working for her because she manipulates everything into supporting her victim narrative.
But what's different now is that the people aren't buying it. So it's not working anymore.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yes.
And then we go to Bose's again. And here is Bose now in repose in this like flowing, gorgeous duster on her amazing tropical living room furniture. And I love how she interacts with Nico, her assistant.
Me too.
She's so lovely. And it shouldn't be impressive that someone treats a human being like a human being. But you and I have both worked for people, have a different way of treating assistants. You're the help. And this is just a man who's helpful in her household. And they have a lovely relationship.
They do.
I
love it. I love it. Yep.
Garcelle bitches about taking off her shoes. But she did very sweetly look for a Haitian restaurant, couldn't find one. So she brought Bo's Jamaican food, which I thought was very
loved
sweet.
that. That is paying attention to somebody. Yes. That's seeing your friend. That's seeing your friend.
She really is making a thoughtful personal effort, and it was sweet.
And I don't even know if it's effort for Garcelle. Like, I think that's just how she operates.
I think you're right.
But I know what you're saying. But yeah.
And then Bose reports that 10 fibroids were successfully removed in that surgery. Jesus Christ.
My God.
And then Garcelle, she starts off so strong, and then she just goes back to elementary school bullshit. And she's like, I've been wanting to have a hang like this for a while with you, but Dorit's an embryo up your coochie.
I can see myself saying that.
No, you would not.
No,
a woman who she just had surgery.
Yeah, but I'm throwing Dorit under the bus, not Bose.
Fair.
You know?
But I do appreciate Bose, again, in pain from surgery, just saying like, this is also juvenile. I happen to like Dorit. Just because they don't like Dorit doesn't mean I can't like Dorit.
Yep.
And part of that she says directly to Garcelle. And then Garcelle tries to talk shit about Dorit, but it's fruitless. She's like, it's 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And Bose asks, why? And Garcelle has no answer. She's like, she talks too much.
I
Just
know.
leave it alone.
I wish Garcelle.
Let her like Bose. Let her like Dorit. Let Bose like Dorit.
I do wish that Garcelle in that moment would have taken advantage of that to let Bose know about Dorit's egregious microaggressions.
I agree. There was an opportunity to have a more significant conversation about what the root of Garcelle's pain with Dorit is, because it is legitimate.
100%, which is why when she asked, I believe that when Garcelle asked Dorit at the Viper Room, how are you doing? Like, you're clearly dysregulated in a way that we have never seen you be. Like, how are you? I believed it. I don't think it was the appropriate arena to say it. I think she could have called her the next day and said, hey, do you want to go to coffee, or can I bring a coffee to your house? And can we sit outside? And I know we've had our beef, but how are you? Like, I really did think she was genuinely, authentically asking.
In that moment when she asked, I agree. But immediately she said, oh, what am I next? You crazy, outrageous, hysterical woman.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was like, no, dude, no, you don't get to call someone who's having a feeling. Whoa. I hate that reaction to someone who's having a right-sized reaction.
Right. I can see that.
Ugh. So Bose, I thought, did a lovely job of explaining why she's sympathetic to Dorit. Her marriage is falling apart. She has problems with her bestie. She says, let me be a bridge.
I know.
And I thought that was such a lovely framing of her role in Dorit's life. And they both said they were surprised by the vitriol at the Viper Room, and that was real anger that both Kyle and Dorit were releasing. And then Garcelle tells Bose that Kyle read the text last night, which is clearly one of a long thread. And it said, essentially, I'll never tell what we talk about. I'll keep your confidence, PK. And Bose has the immediate right read. Kyle doesn't know the definition of friendship, and she doesn't know the definition of ain't nothing going on. She's actively talking to PK in a way that is not superficial. That is not what she told me. So she lied. She just says it plain.
Yep.
She lied.
She lied. She did. Oh my God.
And then I love Bose ends the scene by saying to Garcelle, how's she going to find out? How's Dorit going to find out? You're going to tell her. I was like, oh, I love it.
I can't wait for the next episode. She is. I love her. I love her so much. She's effing amazing.
And she causes Kyle to quit the show for 2 weeks. Her honesty is so threatening to Kyle that she had to leave filming for 2 weeks. I love that.
Kyle did that to herself.
She did. But I just love when honesty has a victory.
Yes,
when
I
honesty
do too.
Honesty is more damaging than lies and bullshit.
Oh my God.
And Bose's honesty is so damaging that Kyle left.
I mean, it feels like
satisfaction.
My younger child of an alcoholic, like Bose is like healing me. Because like I have this insatiable need for justice and fairness, this insatiable need for people to call terrible behavior, inappropriate, like wildly toxic behavior out, especially when it's treating someone that I care about badly. She's saying all the things I wish I could say.
It's funny you mentioned that, and it's bringing to mind, I'm doing some, everybody prepare to roll your eyes, but some of the therapeutic work I'm doing right now is reparenting stuff. And my parents did the best they could with what they had. And some of it was insufficient to the point where I've damaged myself because I didn't learn things that adults need to know. And so I'm doing this reparenting practice. And Bose is like the parent that I always wanted, just someone very level-headed to say like, hey, no, that's actually what you're saying is a lie. You lied. Hey, actually, I'm going to question why you said that because it doesn't add up. And as you explain it, it still doesn't add up. So, okay. It's just so simple and like there's no drama. It's just reflecting the truth. And in an alcoholic household, there's no room to reflect the truth because it becomes explosive and honestly dangerous.
Dangerous. Yes, it can become dangerous.
And so Bose's voice is the voice that I'm like working on cultivating in my head. This like very stable, sensible, kind, not damning of anyone. It's just like, what are the facts? Let's look at those. Okay, well, if these are the facts, then I'm going to walk away from you because you lied, and I don't fuck with liars anymore.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's time for me to just take a step away.
Oh,
Bye.
God.
And then I bring my page to Sorbo of like, I don't hate you, but I see you.
Oh, yes.
Bye.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, bravo.
Yes. Oh, it's a cautionary tale. This is a valuable episode that we just talked about.
Oh, and by the way, speaking of all roads lead to Bravo, when the fires happened and Bose's beautiful Malibu home burned down, there was another post that came up in my feed with an image of her home on it. It was posted by the woman who was my death doula instructor, who is Bose's sister. Can you handle it? Elua Arthur of Going with Grace. Look into it if you want to become an end-of-life doula. She's the living best, so it doesn't surprise me that these two share a genetic code. She is Bose's sister and had just stayed in her Malibu home over Christmas. So she posted pictures of like, and this beautiful post saying, you know, my sister paid such attention to every detail. This home was a dream manifested in real life. And it just this really lovely, basically eulogy for that home. Of course, she's an incredible death doula. So that's what she does. She engages with grief. And along those lines, I wrote down something she wrote in this post for anyone who is, you know, in Los Angeles or knows people in Los Angeles or cares about Los Angeles. So this death doula who is, you know, a master of all things grief, she wrote of the fires, the enormity of this devastation feels almost impossible to process. I find myself using the same type of language folks use when someone dies suddenly or rapidly declines. How could it be? But I just saw them. I was just there. Everyone in LA seems connected to the loss, their home, someone they love's home, somewhere they've been, something they cherished. The magnitude of this loss is stunning. The collective grief is staggering. However your emotions surface, whether through tears, silence, anger, confusion, gratitude, reflection, action, or rest, know that every expression is valid. And she ends it by saying, in the coming hours, days, weeks, years, extend grace to yourself and others as you process these layers of grief. So that's Bose's sister. Amazing. And I just thought that was very valuable in terms of like, your emotions will surface. I have moments, you've had a moment, friends have had moments of paralyzation and guilt associated with that. Like, I've got to get up and get out and do something. But I'm absolutely comatose because this is so overwhelming. So I just thought it was really helpful to be reminded there are layers of grief. Some of them may include being absolutely still. Some of them may include great outpouring of action. And then all of those feelings, tears, silence, anger, confusion, gratitude, reflection, you know, like all of this is going to be part of the healing process, which will be long. And I just thought she's fucking great.
Will you please
that woman.
screenshot that and send it to me?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I absolutely will.
It's going to apply to so many.
It does.
That perfectly encapsulated just everything I've been feeling. And I'm not there. And when I think about how, like, if I'm feeling this strongly, the people there are just you, my cousin, who got back into her house on Sunday, I think. So she was out for days, but yeah, they're out of, I think that they're in the clear, but she sent me pictures of like her neighborhood.
Well, that's the thing is like,
it was
everything's changed. There was a man in Altadena who his house was standing. He's like, I have a house, but my home is gone. Because he was like, the neighbors' houses are burned to the ground. That's the lady who would come over and dance in my driveway. That's the guy who would check in on me after I got home from a trip out of town. Like, it's just one house standing. And he's like, this is going to be a construction zone for years. So I have this box, but I don't have the things that made it valuable. It's so profound what people are experiencing of like what matters, what makes a house a home, all that shit. Anyways, an expert in grief had that to say. Her whole life is devoted to things cycling through death and being with people who are left behind. And I just thought it was very helpful. So I will
And
screenshot it and pass
all
it to you.
roads lead to Bravo in the most poignant. This is a poignant road.
Yeah,
Oh, Margie. Oh, my God. And that's
know.
Bose's sister.
Sister. I mean, and of course it is. These two human beings who are so devoted to like their communities in very different but incredibly impactful ways. Like what a cool gene pool.
I'm so glad you shared that. I'm just my hair standing up on my arms. That's so. Oh, what else did you watch this week, friend?
I watched The Traitors, and I think that's probably why I have Tom Sandoval on the brain. It is a great cast. I'm really enjoying it because the truth is there's nothing at stake. It's just a bunch of egos and like a little bit of money, but it's not enough to get in. I don't even care how much the purse is as they earn money or don't. I'm just like, who cares? It's real. I'm finding it really enjoyable, and the cast is amazing. There's some really like weird fashions that are fun to look at. And Alan Cummings is like an international treasure. He's just wonderful at this job.
He's
The best.
so wonderful. He's so wonderful.
Because he takes it seriously so we don't have to.
Yeah.
And talk about like, wow, he's great.
But from like this perspective of like, I know these are fucking fools, and I'm gonna just
Totally.
say it more. Yeah.
He called out like Tom Sandoval.
Oh, it was amazing.
When he said like, how does it feel to be betrayed? Not great, right? And Tom Sandoval was like, who's obviously going through Adderall withdrawal.
Oh, fascinating.
He is sweating up a storm, and his eyes are like in a real Jax Taylor moment.
Wow.
It's crazy.
We've only seen one episode.
If you haven't seen the gray t-shirt pit stains, like get ready
Okay.
for a
Oh my
real
God.
show.
I can't wait.
And I will say the other thing I've been watching is fire related. Heidi and Spencer. I was a huge Hills fan, and they lost everything in the Palisades fire. Their home was not insured. And so they are starting from, they have nothing. They have no money. He's been on TikTok, which will close down over the weekend, but just honestly, day by day, going through the joy and the grief. And my son has to start a new school. The teacher gave him a physical picture of his son with a new friend at school. And Spencer was like, this is the only photograph I have. Everything is gone. This is it. I'm starting from this. This is my photograph collection. Like, it's so raw. And I know people have feelings about him and whatever, but like they have nothing now. That's it. It's gone. And so he is hustling his ass off to get Heidi's song from 15 years ago to number one.
I
He's
saw
done
that.
it.
Yeah.
It's great. And they're just really, it's just a documentary of that experience. And they both openly are grateful and are overcome with grief at the reality of what's gone. Like Heidi was shopping at Marshall's and talking about how like, it just makes me miss my clothes. Like, I'm glad to have new clothes, I guess, but like, I want my shirt.
Oh my God.
My sweater.
I would, and I'm not trying to sound superficial, but I consider my face, my ears, my body to be the canvas, and the jewelry that my clothes represent, and my literal jewelry and my eyeglasses, part of how I express who I am and what makes me happy and what makes my heart sing. And so, yes, they're just clothes, but yes.
Collecting these things. So you know the t-shirt to wear when you don't feel well, and the shirt you wear to interviews, and it's like all of it's gone. She's at Marshall's just like buying a blue sweater because she has to be on TV.
Yeah.
So,
oh my God.
And it's joyless shopping. It's fascinating. So I've been watching them and enjoying it. I'm sure they'll disappoint me at some point, but I have to say they've been together for 20 years. Like That's a success story because nobody thought they'd make it. Most of all me. And now they're going to make it through a fire. They have 2 beautiful kids. They are doing what Erica Jane did not have to do. They have lost all of their money. That house was it. And all of his crystals that he was selling have burned. It's over. They have nothing. So there's no investment account. They're regular people now. And he's hustling his ass off, and I'm here for it.
Wow.
Anyways,
Yeah.
what did you watch?
Watched one episode of The Traitors. As I was taking my Christmas shit down, I watched 90 Day Fiancé Last Resort. Again, if you're desperate, abandon hope, all ye who enter here. It's not something I'm proud to admit, but it's the truth, and the truth will set you free. Let's see. I know there was something else, and why can't I remember it? I haven't watched New York this week. I have not watched Salt Lake City this week, and I can't wait for the weekend to do that.
There's so much buzz about it.
So much buzz, and I'm trying to stay off. I don't want spoilers, but there's a lot. God, what else? Doesn't matter. And what was your antidepressant this week, friend?
My antidepressant has been just connection, I guess, like friends. I wrote my antidepressant is all the love language firing on all cylinders at all times everywhere right now. This city is just full of acts of service, words of affirmation, physical touch, and gifts. That is what is running this town right now. And it's what's buoying me personally, getting to talk to you. My friend Beth and I are checking in daily because we're both prone to anxiety. So we're just having a how are you? How are you? Let's just be landed in this moment, and it's okay to be anxious. It's okay to be whatever. We're just going to acknowledge things because, again, we're only as sick as our secrets. So the more that I say, I'm okay when I'm having nightmares about fire, I'm not okay. So it's better just to tell you or a friend, I'm having nightmares about fire, and just let that, as they say in meditation, let it move through the sky like a cloud.
Yep.
That happened, and off it goes. So
Yep.
Yeah, it's friends and pets and the awesome generosity that this city is displaying right now is really a source of hope. So that's my antidepressant.
It's beautiful. God.
How about you?
So I've been doing, I've been going to therapy with the same therapist that I absolutely adore, and she's helped me so much since Leo was born, because that's where I first met her, was in a postpartum mom group. What's funny about that group is that I expected it to be kind of like the Al-Anon or OA rooms, where people would just get super raw, and people were sharing just quasi superficial things. I've been talking a lot about my birth trauma this week, so I'm pulling out some Kleenex. So when it would come to be my turn, it's in my muscle memory. It's all I know. And I would be like, I can't leave the fucking house. I can't get anywhere on time. Breastfeeding is so fucking hard. I'm in pain. I don't know who I am. I was a badass before I became a mother, and I am leveled by this shit. I'm humbled by how to pack up a diaper bag and get the hell out of the house. And there's days when I get up and I don't put on a bra. I'm in the same clothes I was in all day. And when I realize it's going to be 15 minutes till Josh is home, that's when I'll do the dishes. Maybe I'll brush my teeth. I was undiagnosed ADHD at the time, and now it all makes sense why I was so terrified. I didn't know how to use the clips on the baby carrier that I would wear. It was all new information coming at me at hyperspeed at one time. Both facilitators told me, oh my God, we're so glad you're here. It was the lifeline that I had at that time. Josh went back to work after his paternity leave and I had no friends in San Francisco. I was alone in a gray, foggy-ass city. I promise I'm getting somewhere. I've been working with the same therapist who was co-facilitating that postpartum group. And she has blown my fucking mind for the last 8 years, almost 9 years. And I have not recognized my emotional reactions to things probably in the last 3 months. Everything feels on the surface. Everything feels raw. But the way I was looking at it was that what the fuck is happening to me? I'm emotionally dysregulated all the time. I can't get back to who I am. What is going on? And I told my therapist about this on Tuesday, and she's like, Ramona, you've been doing psychedelics for 2.5 years. And when you do psychedelics, it dissolves the protective part of your ego. And that is why you're so raw. And that is why you're so vulnerable. And that is why all of these things are coming up that need to be voiced in a healthy way, in an appropriate way. But I haven't recognized myself. And when she said that, the palpable relief that my body finally felt, I couldn't escape it. So when she named it and it felt like it fit perfectly, I was like, oh my God, I'm relieved. I'm unburdened. This makes sense. And I told my sister and I told Josh, and like they could see it. And it was exactly what I needed to not feel fucking crazy or like I've been going to therapy. Why am I regressing? Why am I moving backwards? Why can't I handle anything? What is going on? It made sense and I felt lighter and I still do. And I'm so fucking glad. Yeah.
It's working.
Yeah.
That's
it's
what I
working.
hear.
It's working.
Yeah.
It's working because I don't want the protective ego. And so the reason why I'd made the decision to do ketamine is because, again, I've shared this before. I thought if I went into the pain and grief from my childhood, I would die from those feelings. And they're coming up and I'm not dying. And I'm handling them imperfectly, but in the best way I can. And even though it's imperfect, I promise I'm being intentional and not wanting to cause chaos and mess. Anyway, it made a huge difference. Yeah. So that was my antidepressant.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I mean, it's a great pitch for like sticking with the long-term treatment plan.
Absolutely.
Like just stay with it.
Absolutely.
In 2.5 years, you won't recognize yourself in a really good way.
Yeah. I mean,
it's pretty great.
It is.
To be that present in your life that you're just feeling everything. That's pretty amazing.
It's wild. It's crazy. And I have a long way to go. You know, like I still have a lot of feelings about my relationship with my dad and what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do. And I compare myself to my sister because she's in a wonderful place where she's able to like, she's detaching with love. And I watch it and I marvel and I'm not there. And it's uncomfortable. It's not easy. It's uncomfortable.
It's, but I think that's like what I've come to learn in all these years is like, it's so hard, but it's like, that's part of the process is like, I acknowledge what I want to change. I take the steps that I can do. And then the timing is not up to me. Like I'm on steps 6 and 7 in this, one of the 10,000 12-step programs I'm in right now, but it's in step 7, you humbly ask a higher power to remove your defects of character when they are no longer useful to me. And I don't know when that is. And I'm so frustrated with some of them that continue to stick around, even though on a daily basis, I'm like, please take this, please take this, please take this. And the timing isn't up to me, but all I know is like, I am honestly so willing to be done with this version of myself.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's taking so long, but in my experience, it does change. And then once it's changed, it just feels like, well, it's normal. It's always been like this. So it's like, it's just these sort of like these moments of like painful awareness before the relief comes. But that's the work. Like that's the work we do. And we do it because the relief does come.
It does.
I've never had the experience of not emerging from an emotionally painful period of my life.
I agree. You're absolutely
right. And I've never
right.
been patient while it's happening.
Absolutely
I've never
not.
been surrendered in a way where I'm like, that's fine. This is God's plan. I'm always like, can we be done with this part now? I get it. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it passes. It's true.
It does. Oh.
And I can't wait to report when this phase has passed. But I'm in the steps. Like that's what they're there for.
I have faith, friend. I have so much faith in you.
I borrow yours when I lose mine.
It's boundless.
Oh.
Yeah, it's big. Well, everyone, we have come to the end of a very emotional, charged, triggering episode of, talking about the Real Houses of Beverly Hills, which has been a joy to talk about with you, Margie. It's been a joy. Always. Everyone, we hope that you are hanging in there the best you can with coping skills that are loving to you and your inner child. Take care of yourselves in whatever way that means. You know, I'll try to follow what I say as well. Drink my water. I have not wanted to drink water this week. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Anyway, that's all I have to say.
Not perfect yet.
Oh, well, not perfect yet. Yes. So everyone take care.
And we'll talk next week.
We'll talk next week. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.